Over 500, baby. Let's go. Who would have thought the Indiana Fever would ever get to over 500 again this season? Who would have thought, right? Like, that was seemingly very unrealistic the way they began the year. But now the Fever's offense looks unstoppable. I don't know how you stop Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell in conjunction. I've compared them to LeBron James and Kyrie back in the day because Caitlin really understands how to run a team, how to feel the vibes of a game, how to control the game in a certain way. And Kelsey Mitchell understands how to score the damn thing. And you look at the numbers here, 36 points for Mitchell, 28 points for Clark combined. And then you throw in the 12 assists for Caitlin. And Kelsey, you could tell how much she's starting to enjoy it and thrive in this role with this responsibility, with this winning. She said after the game, I've been at the bottom. I don't want to be back there. And I saw some people saying, like Kelsey Mitchell's not going to get the attention she deserves. Bull. She's getting much more attention because she plays with Caitlin Clark. Much more love, much more attention. And it would be the best thing, I think, for her career going forward. But you see Kelsey, and you see what she's capable of. I mean, the game's 92, 91 right here. And they got a problem when Kelsey Mitchell has the basketball. Let's step back, hold that. Right? There's going to be a problem when Kelsey Mitchell's on the floor. And there's a problem whenever Caitlin Clark is on the floor and controlling the basketball. And Caitlin's got the 3-ball going for her now, which is a scary sight. I mean, she has it on this play. I want to go to the left, but you can't give me that space. I shoot better from further away. Did you read the scouting report or not? I guess you didn't, right? That was one of 2 back-to-back threes from Caitlin Clark in succession right there. Obviously, Caitlin with the dimes. We've seen that all year long. She's terrific when it comes to that. She also had a floater in the game, which is significant. I've said that's the final frontier for her. So it's worth pointing out and seeing when she does indeed get that off. She's looking more and more comfortable with that. And then the highlight passes are rubbing off on Mitchell as well, because Kelsey made a play in that game that was just sick. On a pass down the floor from Caitlin Clark to Kelsey Mitchell. That was like one of the highlights of the season, I would say, that we saw in that game. Let me find it on the Fever's page, because actually I'll take a quick stop here to go over this section of the game, because it was stark contrast. I can't play you the comments themselves, but in stark contrast to Cheryl Swoops being on the call, Nancy Lieberman was on the call in this game, and she went out of her way. She went out of her way to praise Caitlin Clark. After the foul calls the other day in the Chicago Sky game, after the foul calls, that was a big topic of conversation. And once again, Caitlin Clark's popularity comes up, and how often she's discussed and how people discuss her and what people say and blah, 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 blah. And Nancy Lieberman was like, I'm going to say my piece. She was waiting to get that off. And Lieberman is a women's basketball legend, had a long career, was a coach, now a part of the Wings broadcast team. And she came out and said, her impact is generational. Thank you. She said, thank you. Then she added, she's going to make these women multimillionaires like Tiger did, like Michael Jordan did. So we shouldn't hate on her. We should celebrate her, not, and appreciate her, not tolerate her. Those were the words of Nancy Lieberman. And she went on to say, like, in her generation, she would have wished for the media coverage that they get from Caitlin Clark now, that the league gets from Caitlin Clark now. And again, the league is growing as a whole because of this. Asia Wilson's white t-shirt phenomenon is a cool thing that's going on. Arike Ogunbowale in this game between the Wings and the Fever. Obviously, Kelsey Mitchell and the love that she's getting. You know, the Liberty, they got a mascot. That's a thing. There's a lot going on. But Caitlin Clark has also backed it up with her play. And that's a huge aspect of it, where she is 28 points, 12 assists again. And when you put her next to Kelsey Mitchell in the backcourt, you have what is an unstoppable combination. An unstoppable combination that I'm not sure, can be handled. I'm not sure it can be handled. Here's the play in question, the one I was referencing before. One of the highlights, if not the highlight of the entire season. Caitlin with one of her get-ahead passes to Kelsey behind the back to Nalissa Smith with the finish. And Nalissa, let's give her credit. Let's give her credit because she, in this one, played a lot better than she has in many of the recent games. And when they get that production from the power forward spot, they're a different team because Lexi Hull has now filled that small forward spot. Aaliyah Boston is doing a little bit of everything. She struggled a little bit offensively of late, but she's doing a little bit of everything and really busting her tail on defense. But, when they get that power forward production, it changes things. And I thought Dantas did a nice job. Temi Fagbenle can't catch her finish right now. That's been a little bit of a curious situation recently. But ain't nobody want to see the Indiana Fever in a series, in a game, any of these things. They got all the way back to over 500. They've beaten good teams along the way. The playoffs are now a certainty. They play with a certain level of pace, that wears you down over the course of a game. And that's Caitlin. That's Caitlin controlling that pace, controlling that tempo, seeing the floor. And it's also Kelsey's speed because Kelsey Mitchell is as fast as it gets in the backcourt. She flies down the court. She's cutting backdoor. She's making the passes, too, that you see. And one thing I've noticed recently is the ball's getting back to Clark in some of these situations after she gives it up. They fight to get it back to Clark. And Clark is using this. Everybody's setting her screens so that she can use the screens. And everybody knows they're going to eat when she's got the ball. And there's plenty of food for both Clark and Mitchell. And really, the food is the other team now because they are feasting on every single opponent. It don't matter who it is. And right now, the Indiana Fever offense is unstoppable. They've been the best offense in the league since July, and I don't see that slowing down.